Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather today. I'm meteorologist Al Peterlin, and this is a weather report. We keep additional graphics at tpatw.com. We also maintain a storefront on Amazon. Looking at the surface map for Monday, you can see that we still do have some active frontal systems, a new front trying to work its way into southern Idaho, Wyoming, South Dakota, and on up to the northern tip of Minnesota, with some unsettled weather up there in the northern Rockies, northern plains. Note that we have a little infusion of moisture across the four corners, and the frontal system that is currently impacting most of the east and helping to cut away some of that tremendous heat that we've had. We have a low pressure center sitting about Pittsburgh. Its warm front stretching all the way to Dover, Delaware. Its cool front dangling south through West Virginia into eastern Kentucky, down through really about Nashville, back over to Little Rock, and down to Austin, Texas. Note we still do have some activity going on in Florida. Looking at our vitality index, or just trying to pick out those areas where there would be a significant impact of weather on health, and you can see we have something going on here in the central and northern Rockies, a little bit starting to happen in the four corners, and the most area of activity down here in the southern plains, actually up into the middle Mississippi Valley. But we have something to talk about at least almost everywhere east. Pressure change, however, isn't one of those, with a really very minimal pressure change, except right along the frontal systems. We have some rising pressure here in eastern Montana, western North Dakota. Just a touch of rising pressure here in easternmost sections of New Hampshire and coastal Maine. Temperature change, although it's been widespread and dramatic across most of the area, the most significant in terms of significant change is we have some rising temperatures here right along Oklahoma, actually from Arkansas, Oklahoma into eastern New Mexico. And note that we have falling temperatures just to the south of that. And again, that is literally dividing line between that frontal system and showing it hangs all the way up along the peak of the Appalachians. Looking at dew point temperatures, and this is really quite significant for us because the area of highlight is we're showing some increasing dew point temperatures across the very, very dry west, and you can see that we are showing that rise in vapor pressure supporting that dew point temperature across the western, really the western third of the country. So finally, a little bit of moisture there moving into the west. Looking at instability of the showery, thundershower type activity, we're looking at eastern Oklahoma into northern Missouri, and you'll note that we do have unsettled weather through much of the Mississippi Valley and all the way across Florida, and especially along this Gulf. Looking at the change in oxygen availability, and we'll look at the risk of migraines, and we have that threat for migraine here in western Oregon. We have another risk of migraines across most of Montana, northern Wyoming, and the westernmost sections of North Dakota, and a touch in South Dakota. Note that we have a very interesting line of migraine risk running all the way from Midland across central Texas, probably just moving to the east of Dallas-Fort Worth, picking up toward Austin. Another risk of migraine here in the middle Mississippi Valley, northern Mississippi, most of Tennessee, and just touching the westernmost areas of Kentucky. Note that we have a risk of migraine up and along central and southern Florida, and then we have a risk of migraine starting in New Jersey, eastern Pennsylvania, across New York City and New York, and up and across New England. Note that we have a very interesting risk of asthma and arthritis, very sharp here in eastern New Mexico, very sharp right up here in the Texas Panhandle, and trying to make its way toward Oklahoma City. We also have a risk of asthma and arthritis across Arkansas, the toe of Louisiana, and just a little bit of an asthma shot here in the mountains of North Carolina. Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather. Your comments are appreciated, and if you hurt, tell us where you're located.